Hi there, my name is George Childs, and I'm going to be going through the key questions that I'll be using for my second piece of primary research. And this is with an interview with a member of Crisis UK. I've been to the headquarters in Canterbury, and I discussed the possibility of being able to do this. So this is just a theoretical summary of the questions that we would be discussing in this interview. Okay, so I'll start with a welcome brief into the research that I'll be conducting. This is just to make sure that everybody in the interview is on the same page and that they understand the results that I need to get from the overall research. So then I'd go on to asking the interviewee to explain their role with regards to tackling homelessness and the general issues that they're facing and having to deal with. The reason I chose to ask this question is because I by no means class myself as a professional. I've just been studying this topic. So really I'd be letting them take their lead with regards to what issues they feel are relevant to discuss. And hopefully I'll be finding out some information that maybe goes hand in hand with the questionnaire that I've asked, as well as my secondary research, ideally looking towards my second and third objectives of linking this to how society can actually tackle the issue. The main question for this is what do you believe is the main driver for the increase in the hidden homeless? Now, if I can get this question answered by a professional, this would really help my overall evaluation at the end. So I've created this sort of diagram that shows maybe the three types of answers that could be given when I ask this question. It's important to note when asking individuals to conduct a research task such as a focus group or an interview that you really have to cover yourself for if somebody doesn't reply to the question you've asked, or if maybe it's not as in-depth as you'd like. It's important to use follow-up questions and ideally predict what they might be able to say in order to gauge what I will respond as a result to what they say. So for example, if they were to respond with housing prices as one of the main drivers for the issue with the hidden homeless, then I'll know that this is obviously a big problem. We know this from our secondary research. The housing prices are large reason as to why people are having to sort of hide within concealed households, unable to afford their own rent. If you're an individual without a family, it's a lot harder to find housing, which follows on to the poor education and ability to acquire jobs. This is another angle that I believe somebody that's being asked this question could go down. And this is because poor education, it's a known fact, this can lead to a number of problems with homelessness, as well as an inability to attain high grades, to acquire jobs. And this creates a cycle within certain communities of people being unable to actually better themselves and get out of their situation, which is a particular problem when looking at my secondary research. There's an issue with people living within student accommodation, subletting off students, which is really interesting because typically you'd assume that homelessness affects those sort of at the bottom with no education, and a whole load of other stereotypes. But the fact that this is targeting students, I'd really be interested to see if I could get an angle on this. And then from a slightly different angle, because as again I've said, it's very difficult to predict what somebody would say in an interview. Is it actually the education system that's preventing people from attaining these jobs early on, and therefore increasing homelessness when they come out of university? Because it's clear that people, especially with the hidden homeless, these are people that might not necessarily have a reason to sleep on the street. They may have friends that are doing well for themselves, or family members that are doing well for themselves. They really have somewhere to stay other than the street, but this does not mean by any means they're safe from eviction. They're still homeless and they still have no form of stability. So by looking at this angle, I'd find it much easier to sort of write a good evaluation on how this is targeting multiple demographics, because that's the key with hidden homelessness, is that it's not just targeting one group. It targets many groups of people. It targets people from all sorts of different ethnicities and backgrounds, and it also leads to overcrowding, which is an issue again across many demographics. So this is the general template that I would follow. It's very simple, very basic, purely because I feel like in an interview it's more important to actually get the answers from people, and then sort of adapt what you're saying and the questions you're asking to suit that conversation, rather than sticking to a certain template, which I have done with my questionnaire and other things like that. I feel like this would definitely be the best angle for an interview with a member from Crisis UK. Okay, thank you for listening.